If you look closely at the crowd at a major music festival today, you are looking at a mountain of consumer debt. Last year, 60% of Coachella attendees used buy now, pay later services to get in. They're taking out microloans, splitting a $600 ticket into 4 payments just to finance an illusion of wealth. The average American credit card rate recently hit a historic high of over 22%. When you take on that kind of debt for things that depreciate immediately, you are essentially agreeing to let someone else claim the fruits of your labor until every cent is repaid. The money is gone before you've even earned it. This diagram shows 2 identical income streams. Amateurs focus entirely on the total height of the bar, the top-line revenue. Professionals focus on the gap at the bottom. That gap is the margin between what comes in and what goes out. Protecting and investing that specific margin is the actual engine of wealth. If you stretch your lifestyle to match whatever cash is available, earning more money doesn't help you. Over 50% of Americans say they would spend more if their salary increased. The income goes up, the expenses swell to match it perfectly, and the gap remains 0. Increasing your income while allowing your lifestyle to expand at the same rate creates a more expensive flavor of being broke. Without a defensive strategy to protect the gap, you are simply raising the overhead on your own poverty. Your primary paycheck has one true purpose in a wealth-building system. It is the raw material you use to acquire assets. You take the money you earn from your labor and you deploy it into property, stocks, or businesses that generate cash flow on their own. The mechanism to getting rich relies on a strict operational rule. You only spend what the assets produce, completely preserving the principal. If your portfolio generates $40,000 a year in dividends, you spend that $40,000. Because the base acquisition remains intact, the machine keeps running indefinitely. The average person bypasses the asset phase entirely. They earn their paycheck and they immediately consume it. The income arrives, it pays for the holiday or the car, it vanishes, and the cycle resets to 0 next month. The compounding machine never even gets built. In the beginning, you have to reinvest everything. When a dividend arrives or an investment yields a return, the temptation is to reward yourself immediately. But every time you pull money out early, you stop the growth cycle. The cash has to go right back into the system. That discipline creates a stark divide. One group spends their entire lives trading their limited hours to pay for their lifestyle. The other group trades their time temporarily to build a mechanical system, and then lets the system pay for the rest of their lives. A common trap is assuming that wealth requires perfect timing or secret knowledge. Over any 15-year period, 85% of actively managed investment funds fail to beat a basic automated index fund. The math heavily favors the person who simply invests consistently and waits. This chart shows the exact disparity. $500 a month at a 10% annual return over 30 years becomes $1.13 million. That exact same $500 sitting in a standard savings account at 0.5% interest barely reaches $27,000. The difference is entirely automated consistency. Executing that consistency is heavily dependent on your environment. Decades ago, Jim Rohn observed that you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Your social circle naturally establishes your financial floor and your financial ceiling. Harvard researchers eventually confirmed this exact dynamic. The people you surround yourself with normalize specific financial behaviors. If everyone around you is taking out microloans to look wealthy, that becomes your baseline. If they are quietly buying assets and living below their means, your own standards adapt to match. When you combine the mathematical reality of compound interest with an environment that enforces discipline, the outcome stops being a matter of luck. Building wealth becomes a highly predictable mechanical process. The primary reason people fail to build substantial wealth is that compound interest is almost invisible in the beginning. It takes roughly 7 to 8 years for the exponential growth to become obvious. Because the progress feels so slow, most people abandon their strategy by year 2. Warren Buffett's net worth is currently over $154 billion. Over 99% of that wealth was accumulated after his 60th birthday. That massive fortune is the direct result of a compounding machine that was started in his teens and left completely alone for decades. A high salary can easily mask a terrible financial position. Doctors, lawyers, and high-earning executives often project a highly successful image while drowning in structured liabilities like massive mortgages and car payments. What someone pays you is entirely separate from what you actually keep. The only accurate scoreboard for financial reality is your net worth, calculating everything you own minus everything you owe. Updating that specific number every single month strips away the illusion of your salary and forces you to confront exactly how much value you are actually retaining. In a culture hyper-focused on immediate gratification and projecting status, long-term patience and objective measurement are rare traits. If you deploy them, you gain a massive competitive advantage over everyone else who refuses to check the score. This entire mechanical system, from the index funds to the real estate holdings, requires a reliable supply of fuel. That fuel is generated by the specific high-demand skills you bring to the marketplace. Whether it's software development or high-stakes negotiation, your ability to provide rare value is what feeds the compounding engine. Treating your health, education, and professional development as optional expenses is a costly miscalculation. Data consistently shows that high-net-worth individuals aggressively allocate their budgets to coaching, books, and physical maintenance. Failing to maintain your own operating system strips years off your life and your compounding timeline. Consistently tracking your net worth and hitting your automated milestones creates a measurable track record of ability. This objective evidence eventually replaces initial hesitation with the grounded confidence required to make larger financial decisions. If you try to optimize your gap, invest the difference, and it somehow falls apart, your previous lifestyle will still be there waiting for you. You can always go back to spending every dollar you earn. The downside is heavily capped. Indecision carries a heavy opportunity cost. Remaining paralyzed in your current financial state eventually drains your most limited resource, the decades of time required for compounding to actually work.